This was Mark Miller's last public policy announcement, which was signed up on the 4th of March. But because it had 12 weeks for the implementation, therefore it was announced on 28th of May 2025. And this public policy has to do with individuals who are currently working in Canada on closed work permits. And the reason this applies to closed work permits is because for open work permit holders, there are no restrictions. As an open work permit holder, you can work for any employer, you can have multiple jobs, and that is not a problem. So for a closed work permit holder, the provision is that you can only work for the employer that has been named on your work permit, and you can only work in the location that has been indicated on your work permit. So this new provision, this new public policy states that if you have now applied for a new closed work permit, or if you basically did not have a work permit earlier but now you needed a closed work permit, and you have applied for one, then instead of waiting for the closed work permit to be approved and then starting work with your new employer, you may have an exemption. This policy provides the exemption where you can start working sooner for this new employer. Now how this impacts is because earlier, for example, if you are working for a big tech firm in Canada, and you are on a closed work permit, whether it's an ICT work permit, or an LMIA exempt work permit, or an LMIA supported work permit, then if you are laid off, if you resigned, if you found a new employer, you technically could apply for a new work permit but you couldn't change. You couldn't start working for the new employer unless the new work permit had been approved. So this renewed public policy now allows you to apply for an exemption based on which you will be able to start working sooner, while you are waiting for the work permit to be processed. This allows a lot of people who are in the transition stage, basically that provision, that relief, that they can start working sooner. Otherwise, what would have happened is, for example, if you have been laid off and the current work permit processing times are far reaching to 230 days, this could basically mean you could be out of job, out of employment, out of any money in your pocket for several months, and therefore, this is a very welcome relief. Now, the provision as to how you can apply for the exemption. What happened earlier is that you would apply through a web form giving the application details and indicating that you've already applied for the work permit extension, or a new work permit in this case, and that you're looking for an interim work authorization. Once you send out that web form with the required code, then IRCC would send you an interim work authorization that would allow you to start working in this new employment, in a new job, sooner than you otherwise would have. So overall, a good policy. It really helps all those individuals who are in a state of limbo between these different employment stages, when they are applying for a work permit, or when they are waiting for a new work permit to happen. And technically, this should apply to all work permit changes, applying to all new work permit extensions, any kind of work permits that are applied for when you already have a closed work permit, and there is a transition phase. This should apply to all those instances, and as I said, it would then bring a big relief so that these individuals can start working immediately rather than waiting.